Defense Against the Dark Arts. This class was originally taught by Professor Quirrell, but because Quirrell died, Snape temporarily took over the class, which fulfilled Snape's wish. Li Qingyue and Constantine arrived at the back door of the classroom and casually found a seat. Snape saw the two of them but didn't say anything. Instead, he continued reading from his book. Because of Snape's reputation, the students dared not slack off, which meant that no one noticed Li Qingyue and Constantine sneaking in. Then the two listened to Snape's lecture, but since the students were all in the lower grades, there wasn't much substance to it. Most of the lectures were just about explaining the content in the book. As they listened, they got bored and were about to leave when Snape spoke up. "Are you two getting bored? It's all right, but we're not interested in the knowledge in these books," Li Qingyue said with a smile. "If you're not interested in the knowledge in books, what about practical application?" "I'm interested in this, Constantine, go ahead." Constantine nodded, then walked through the group of students to the podium. "Where is your wand?" Constantine shrugged and said, "I'm sorry, I don't have my own wand yet." "Don't you have a wand?" "Yes." "Never mind then. Let's have a fair fight once you have your wands." Snape put away his wand. "No need. Let me see the effects of your magic." With that, Constantine waved his hands, and 2 rings of Lagardère appeared in his hands. Snape, seeing this, bowed to Constantine with his wand in hand. Constantine was taken aback for a moment, then quickly bowed back. The instant the two looked up at the same time, Snape immediately whispered, "Feint!" A streak of red light shot towards Constantine. Constantine neither dodged nor blocked it, but let the red light hit him. After feeling the power of the light, Constantine slowly exhaled. "It's powerful, but it's just a little lacking." Seeing this, Snape unleashed streams of light of various colors once more, but Constantine blocked them all. "Why not attack? My magic is quite powerful, and if I were to use it here, it might accidentally hurt these children. But don't worry, I can use a kind of magic that won't harm them." "What kind of magic?" "Mirror space." Constantine then pulled everyone into the mirror space and began to change the layout of the classroom. Not only that, but even Hogwarts Castle disintegrated under Constantine's control. All the students were so frightened that they huddled together for warmth, but Constantine felt that wasn't enough. He raised his hand and slammed it down hard, and instantly the surrounding buildings merged into a giant. "Enough!" Snape shouted, trying to appear calm. Constantine smiled, and then the surrounding space shattered like a mirror. With a crisp crack, everyone returned to the real world. They even subconsciously touched their bodies, and after confirming that they were all right, the students looked at Constantine with admiration. I still don't know your name," Snape asked in a gentle tone. "John Constantine." "Hello, Constantine. May we learn this magic?" "Of course, but I need to learn your magic first to see if it's possible to transform the mirror space into your magic," Constantine said. "Okay, no problem. I'll start teaching you now. Don't rush. What we need most right now is a magic wand." Upon hearing this, Snape immediately said to the group of students, "Get out of class, dismissed now. I'll take you to buy wands." "Really?" "Certainly. Let's go then." Constantine's eyes lit up. After all, he had wanted to learn the magic here for a long time. Once they learned the magic and alchemy here, they could free their hands. After all, most of the magic in the Harry Potter world was developed to make their daily lives easier. Snape then found Headmaster Dumbledore and, after obtaining his permission, took Li Qingyue and his group to the Leaky Cauldron. After greeting the pub owner, Tom, he led them to Diagon Alley. A medieval and magical alleyway appeared before them, and Jill couldn't help but exclaim in amazement, as it had a very strong impact on her. "It feels awkward here, but there's an inexplicable harmony about it." "Tom, Jerry, you two stay with Richard and don't wander off, understand?" "Don't worry, boss. I'll take good care of them," Richard said, grabbing Tom's tail while putting Jerry in his shirt pocket. Tom and Jerry were staring intently at Florin's ice cream shop, their mouths watering at the sight of the steaming ice cream. "Can we buy it for you when we have the money?" Richard couldn't help but say, looking at them. Tom and Jerry immediately looked directly at Richard. "I won't lie to you. We've arrived at Gringotts. You can exchange galleons here. Do you have any gold or Muggle currency? If not, I can lend you some." "No need, we have gold." The group looked up at the building in front of them. Blocking their way was a gleaming bronze door. On either side of the door stood a fairy guard in a scarlet, gold-trimmed uniform. As Li Qingyue and his group entered, The fairy guards on both sides bowed to them. Are these fairies? They're even uglier than I imagined, Jill said, leaning close to Li Qingyue. I also think they shouldn't be called fairies, they should be called monsters. They then passed through a second silver door, inscribed with warnings that seemed to be a warning to those who coveted Gringotts. Hello, we're here to exchange for galleons. Can we use gold instead? The fairy in the hall raised her head and said in an extremely arrogant tone, Yes. Seeing this, Li Qingyue immediately took out a 10-kilogram gold ingot. Upon seeing the gold ingot, the fairy immediately changed her arrogant expression and showed a fawning smile, saying, Hello, sir. It is an honor to exchange gold galleons for you. Please wait a moment while we need to inspect it. Soon another fairy arrived, picked up the gold ingot, examined it with the glasses clipped to his shirt, then licked it. After confirming there was nothing wrong, he said, That's right. It's pure gold. Yes, sir. This gold weighs 10 kilograms and can be exchanged for 10,000 galleons. Here are your galleons. This seamless stretch bag is a gift from us and can hold approximately 1 cubic meter of objects. Li Qingyue took the small cloth bag. The bag looked like a small linen bag, with a red rope tied around the opening, which was very similar to the bags used to store gold coins in medieval movies and TV dramas. Li Qingyue and his group first bought each of them a seamless stretch bag, then gave each of them 1,000 galleons and sent them off to go shopping. However, before they left, Li Qingyue told them that they must go to Ollivander's wand shop to buy wands, and then dismissed them. Li Qingyue led Jill by the hand to the Madame Malkin's robe shop, where he accompanied Jill to have several dresses made. Ollivander's wand shop. Constantine and Snape's first stop was here. A wand was on display in front of the window on a faded purple mat, along with a sign that read, Ollivander's wand shop was founded in 382 BC. The two pushed open the door, but there was no one at the counter. Constantine looked around the store. The shop was filled with countless boxes, and it wasn't hard to imagine that these boxes must contain magic wands. At that moment, an old man with white hair came out. He seemed somewhat surprised when he saw Snape. Severus, it's been a long time. Birchwood, with snake nerves in the core, 13.5 inches long. Is there something wrong with your wand? No, Ollivander. This is a friend of mine who wants to buy a wand. Your friend? It seems you didn't buy your wand from me, Ollivander said, looking at Constantine. This is my first time buying a wand. Oh, that really surprises me, Severus. Are you sure he has magic? Snape nodded, and Ollivander then smiled and asked, Hello, may I ask your name? Which hand do you prefer? John Constantine, right-handed. Okay. Please raise your hand. Constantine was a little confused, but he did as he was told. To his surprise, Ollivander simply moved his hand, and the measuring tape and quill pens started moving on their own. One measured Constantine's body data, and the other recorded the data. Ollivander then began selecting wands from the pile of boxes, but Constantine tried several times without success. Finally, Ollivander looked Constantine over and took out a box from the deepest part of the box, from which he pulled out a pure black wand. Ebony, with a core of thunderbird feathers, 12 inches long. The magic it casts is extremely destructive, so you must be careful. With that, he handed the wand to Constantine. Constantine took it, and immediately a small dark cloud appeared at the tip of the wand, followed by a bolt of lightning striking down from the cloud towards the tip of the wand. Constantine waved it symbolically, and the aversion he felt towards the previous wands was gone. He was now certain that this was the wand that suited him best. Remember, it is the wand that chooses the wizard. Take good care of it. By the way, it is 7 galleons in total. Constantine gave him 8 galleons because he also bought tools for the daily care of the wand. Divider line. Connor arrives at the Magical Zoo, a place that specializes in selling pets, usually toads, cats, dogs, and some modified magical creatures that are not dangerous and have good-looking appearances. These animals are usually classified as level X in terms of danger. There are 5 levels of magical creatures in total: X, XX, XXX, XXXX, and XXXXX. Hello, sir. Would you like to purchase a magical creature? The waiter quickly approached Connor and asked, Let me take a look first. By the way, are these all the magical creatures you sell? Upon hearing this, the waiter rolled his eyes, then closed the shop door, since there weren't many customers to begin with. He then pulled Connor to a corner and gave him a catalog. Sir, all the magical creatures we sell are here. You can see which kind of magical creature you need. Even magical creatures that are prohibited from sale by the Ministry of Magic, as well as 5x level magical creatures, we have them all, as long as you can afford the price. Do you have a price list? I need to discuss it with my boss, Connor said. Without a word, the waiter pulled out another catalog, which clearly listed the price of each magical creature. Connor glanced at it casually and left with the catalog. He then went to Ollivander's wand shop, where he selected a wand that suited him. After that, Connor went to the owl shop. Looking at the dazzling array of owls, he didn't buy any. Instead, he memorized all the owls, planning to discuss it with Li Qingyue later and add some magical creatures to their agency space. Divider line. Walter's approach was different from the others. He first went to Partridge's Cauldron shop, and on the way he also passed Ollivander's wand shop, but he wasn't very interested in these. What interested him most was alchemy and potion making, which required cauldrons. After all, if you want to do something well, you must first have the right tools. So he quickly arrived at Patchy's Cauldron shop, where he selected each type of cauldron, which cost him over 100 gallons. That wasn't all. Walter was tricked by the cauldron shop owner into buying a lot of useless things, which cost him another 100 gallons. Finally, with the reluctant farewell of the owner of the Partridge Cauldron, Walter entered Ollivander's wand shop, where he also chose a wand. Just as he finished, Richard walked in. "Wow, why are you so late?" Richard asked, eating an ice cream. "You guys didn't really go eat ice cream before coming here, did you?" "I can't help it. They keep bothering me, and their ice cream is so delicious." Richard licked the ice cream that had fallen off the back of his hand as he spoke. "Little one, are you here to buy a wand too?" Ollivander asked Richard kindly. "Yes, Grandpa. It's not just me. It's them too," Richard said, pulling Jerry and Tom out of the way. Only then did Ollivander notice that Richard was followed by a cat and a mouse. "Are you sure they can use wands too?" Ollivander asked, frowning. "I don't know either. They brought it up themselves." Richard lightly kicked Tom's buttocks, pushing them forward. Tom and Jerry exchanged a glance, then ran to the counter, knelt down, clasped their hands together, and looked at Ollivander with pitiful eyes. Ollivander initially wanted to refuse, but looking into their eyes, the words of refusal that were meant to come out of his mouth changed. "All right then, I can give you a try, but you only have 10 chances. If you can't choose the right wand for yourself after 10 tries, then I'm sorry," Ollivander said, while he also noticed something was amiss, but he didn't expose their little scheme. Upon hearing that they too could obtain a wand, the two children excitedly hugged each other and jumped around, seemingly certain that they would choose the wand they wanted. "Come on. Little ones, which hand do you prefer to use?" Ollivander asked softly, as if coaxing children. Upon hearing this, Tom and Jerry immediately raised their hands, and Ollivander couldn't help but laugh at the sight. "You can't do that. Which hand do you use best?" Seeing that their little tricks were not working, they pouted and raised their right hands in unison. Then Ollivander directed the ruler and quill pen to start recording their body data. But they were so small that even the shortest wand was too big for them. "You are too small. Unless they are custom-made, I don't think any of the wands here belong to you." Upon hearing this, the two children immediately ran to a shelf, took down a box, and Ollivander did not stop them. They each took out a wand, and to everyone's astonishment, the wands began to shrink and became fit for them. The two children waved their wands, and streams of light shot out from the tips of the wands. It was as if they were playing a match 3 game, with the two streams of light colliding and canceling each other out. "Is this suitable for them?" Richard couldn't help but ask. "They seem a little strange, little guys. Come here for a second." Ollivander beckoned to Tom and Jerry. The two boys exchanged a glance, then ran back to the counter, looking at Ollivander with curious eyes, not understanding why he had called them. "Here, try these 2 wands." Ollivander casually pulled out 2 boxes and handed them to Tom and Jerry. They didn't stand on ceremony and opened the box directly. As soon as they touched the wand instantly shrank to the length most suitable for them. They each held the wand in their hands and released streams of light at each other. They seemed to possess a kind of power of rules. No matter what kind of wand it is, it becomes a wand suitable for them to use. And this change seems to be irreversible, so they can't get close to my wand. This is really amazing. Are they magical creatures? No, they are the boss's pets. But they have a lot of strange abilities, like this. Like this now. Ollivander looked down and noticed that Tom and Jerry had changed their appearance at some point. They were wearing purple wizard hats with yellow stars on them, the kind of hats witches often wear in cartoons. They were dressed in blue robes and had black cloaks draped over their backs, just like witches in cartoons. Most importantly, they began to cast spells, and these spells were the kind Ollivander had never seen before. They conjured dragon slayers, fire dragons, tornadoes, volcanoes, and so on out of thin air. Although these were all miniature versions, the largest being about the size of Tom, the problem was that their power remained unchanged. "Tom, Jerry!" Richard shouted as he saw the volcano starting to make a whooshing sound. This startled the two children, who quickly put away their wands and wizard outfits. As they put away their wands, the tornado, volcano, fire dragon, and dragon slayer all disappeared. Looking at Tom and Jerry standing obediently to the side, Richard couldn't help but slap himself on the forehead. "I'm so sorry, Mr. Ollivander. Please take a look at the damage and we'll compensate you for it," Richard said sincerely. "It's all right. It'll be cleaned up and restored to its original state." After Ollivander cast 2 spells, the shop returned to its original state. "All right, child, it's your turn. What's your name?" "Richard Fisk, Mr. Ollivander." "Okay. Which hand should we use?" Richard raised his right hand, and then, following the same procedure, he quickly selected a wand that suited him. Poplar wood with a core of serpent feathers, 12 1/3 inches long. "All right, here are your wand care tools, a total of 100 galleons." Richard quickly took out the seamless stretch bag, took out 100 gallons from it, and placed it on the counter. "Tom, Jerry's gone to buy books." Tom and Jerry bowed to Ollivander and then left with Richard. Walter followed suit, as he was also planning to pack up all the books. Not long after they left, Lichinue and Jill walked hand in hand into Ollivander's wand shop. "Is Mr. Ollivander here?" Lichinue shouted. A ladder suddenly bumped into the shelf, and then Ollivander stood on the stairs and poked his head out. "Hello, Mr. Ollivander. My girlfriend wants to buy a magic wand." Ollivander, seeing that the newcomers were also people they had never met before, immediately asked, "Do you know Walter O'Brien Waja, John Constantine, Richard Fisk, and John Connor? They are my employees. So what? It seems I was right. Who would like to go first?" Ollivander asked with a smile. "My wife, I already have a wand," Lichinue said, summoning his own personal wand. Ollivander's eyes lit up when he saw the wand in Lichinue's hand, and he cautiously asked, "May I see your wand?" "Of course." Lichinue handed his personal wand to Ollivander. As soon as Ollivander took it, he clearly felt a strong sense of rejection, so strong that Ollivander almost couldn't hold onto the wand. "Stop!" Lichinue shouted, and the wand immediately stopped. Ollivander looked at Lichinue with gratitude, and then he carefully examined the wand in front of him. "This material is so strange. It's not any kind of wood I'm familiar with. It's more like bone, and the core doesn't seem to be made of magical creatures. It's more like the blood of some kind of creature." "Bone and blood. That's right, but I can't tell what kind of bones and blood it is. And can this wand really be used?" Lichinue retrieved the wand and used transfiguration on a vase. After confirming that the wand was usable, Ollivander stood there stunned until Lichinue tapped the table, bringing him back to his senses. "Excuse me, I almost forgot. Which hand do you prefer, ma'am?" Jill raised her right hand, and then it was the same process. Since Jill was nothing special, Ollivander quickly helped her choose a wand, and after paying, the two left Ollivander's wand shop. After they left, Ollivander looked at the doorway and murmured, "Should I try using bones as wands and blood as cores? Should I try it? That way, wands can be revolutionized." After leaving Ollivander's wand shop, Lichinue and Jill arrived at Madame Primpinier's beauty potion shop. Here, Jill selected many potions that could beautify and improve the skin. Although the quantity of these items was small, the price was expensive. "I just bought a bunch of bottles and jars, and it cost me 500 galleons. You can imagine how expensive this stuff is." However, Lichinue had plenty of money and didn't care about these things at all. "Look, isn't that Richard?" Jill asked, pointing to a child walking a blue and white cat in front of a store. "That's him. Let's go see what's going on." Lichinue pulled Jill behind Richard. "Richard, what's going on?" "Boss, you're here. Tom and Jerry are having a fight with me." "Tom, Jerry? Didn't I tell you to listen to Richard?" Lichinue shouted with a dark face. Seeing this, Tom and Jerry quickly lowered their heads, drew circles on the ground with one foot, and looked very aggrieved. "All right, can't we talk things out? Why do we have to pull and tug at each other? And you, why are you raising your voice like that? You know Tom and Jerry's personalities. Come here, it's okay. Jill hugged Tom and Jerry and gently comforted them. Li Qingyue showed a helpless expression. There was nothing he could do. Tom and Jerry were like the group's darlings. Apart from him scolding them, no one else could bear to hit or scold them. Especially Jill, after living with them for a long time. Jill also liked them very much because they were really good at being affectionate. You know, women generally can't resist cute pets being affectionate. They wanted to buy flying brooms, but I didn't have enough money. Each one costs 2,000 gallons, so I thought I'd ask you for some money. But they didn't seem to want to leave, so we got stuck like that, and then you guys came, Richard explained. All right, it's just a flying broomstick. I'll buy it for you. Li Qingyue gently kicked Tom's butt, which made the already aggrieved Tom even more aggrieved, and he immediately threw himself on Jill and cried. Tears streamed down her face like a brook, but the problem was that Jill's clothes weren't wet at all, and the water looked more like the water in an animation, blue and white. Don't cry, okay? Ed said he'd buy you a flying broomstick, so don't cry anymore. Jill and Jerry tried to comfort Tom, and it took them a while to calm him down, but he still choked up from time to time. Li Qingyue looked at Tom, scratched his head helplessly, and could only quickly buy the Nimbus 2000 and hand it over to Tom. Tom took the broom and burst into laughter through his tears, and Li Qingyue finally breathed a sigh of relief. When Jerry saw that Tom had a flying broom, he quickly ran to Li Qingyue's feet and looked at Li Qingyue pitifully. This flying broom is too big for you. Upon hearing this, Jerry immediately lowered his head, looking like he was about to cry. Li Qingyue had no choice but to say, how about this? After Walter learns alchemy, I'll have him make you a flying magic carpet. What do you think? Chirp, chirp, chirp. Of course it's true, why would I lie to you? Looking at the two smiling children, Li Qingyue felt utterly exhausted. Okay. Have you finished buying your things? I don't have much to buy, but I heard there's a village outside Hogwarts called Hogsmeade Village, and there's a shop there called Honeyduke's Candy Shop. It seems like they sell a lot of magical candies there. So I want to go there and buy some candy for my parents. Of course, that's no problem. Find the others and gather them to return to Hogwarts. Let's split up and search, boss. But where should we meet up? Let's meet at Florin's ice cream shop. Richard nodded, then grabbed Tom's tail and dragged Jerry away. Li Qingyue and his companion went to Florin's cold drink shop, ordered a cold drink, and drank it together, looking like a couple deeply in love. After an unknown amount of time, everyone finally arrived. The bosses are all here. Then let's go back. Professor Snape, do you have a faster way? Yes, Floo Network. Please follow me, Snape said expressionlessly. They then returned to the Leaky Cauldron, where they used their fireplace and Floo powder to get back to Hogwarts, arriving at Dumbledore's office. Everyone, you're back. Did you buy the wand? Headmaster Dumbledore asked with a smile. We've got it. Now, old dang. I wonder who you can find to teach us magic. Professor Flitwick. He's the champion of the dueling tournament, but you'll need to learn from him in his spare time. Understood? Lao Deng. After everyone left the office, Tom and Jerry immediately boarded the Nimbus 2000 and took off, even letting out screams in the air. Seeing Tom and Jerry looking happy, the group shook their heads and left. Boss, I'd like to learn more about magical creatures. Which professor should I consult? Connor asked. Fantastic Beasts? I think his name was Professor Kettleburn. He lost an arm and a leg because of magical beasts. He was also a professor of biology who protected magical beasts. Okay. Boss, I'll go find him now. Connor waved his hand and turned to walk towards the castle. Then, boss, what about potions and alchemy? Walter asked, leaning closer to Li Qingyue. There's no alchemy here, but you can ask one of Dumbledore's friends, Nicholas Flamel. He's one of the world's top alchemists. As for potions, just ask Snape. He's a potions master. Walter nodded and decided to learn potions first and then alchemy. You don't need to tell me, I know. Just find Professor Flitwick. He specializes in teaching charms, Li Qingyue said, stopping Constantine from asking further questions. What about the flowers and plants? Jill asked. Professor Pomona Sprout. In this way, everyone chose their own areas of interest and then sought out professors they were familiar with in their respective fields to learn from them. Soon only Li Qingyue and Richard remained in the same spot. Isn't there anything you'd like to learn? I don't know what I'm interested in, so I might as well take a look first. Anyway, I'm just a first-year student now, Richard said nonchalantly. Suit yourself. I'm going to take a walk in the Forbidden Forest. Do you want to come along? Richard shook his head, and Li Qingyue then headed towards the Forbidden Forest, while Richard headed towards the castle. On the way, Richard ran into Harry and his friends. The two chatted, and when Richard learned that they were planning to take a History of Magic course, Richard said he wanted to go with them. He was interested in the history of magic and wanted to learn more about the history of this world. And so they went into the classroom together. Looking at the ghost above, Richard's eyes lit up slightly, and he showed a look of great interest. Wah wah! Tom and Jerry were riding Nimbus 2000, darting around in the air with ear-piercing screams, which annoyed the students who were taking flight lessons. Upon seeing this, Madame Hooch immediately took out her wand, predicted their movements, and gently tapped it, sending a stream of light towards the two small brooms, forcing them to stop. Hogwarts doesn't allow flying around on broomsticks, especially during flying lessons, Madame Hooch said, putting away her wand and gently patting their little heads. It has to be said that Tom and Jerry's adorable appearance is indeed lovable to many people. All right, this is the last time. Take your brooms and leave. Looking at the two pitiful children, Madame Hooch sighed helplessly. The two children then smiled. Just as they mounted the broom, they remembered what Mrs. Hooch had just said. So they quickly got off the broom, grabbed the broom, and ran off in a flash, with Jerry close behind. Looking at the obedient Tom and Jerry, Mrs. Hooch couldn't help but smile kindly. However, when she turned to look at the students behind her, she once again showed a serious expression. After all, this was a flying course, and one careless mistake could result in falling from a great height. Although one would not die in Hogwarts, the feeling of having broken bones would not be pleasant. Tom and Jerry walked and walked until they reached the edge of the Forbidden Forest. There they saw a wooden house. Just as they were about to knock on the door, they saw Li Qingyue entering the Forbidden Forest and quickly followed him. What are you two doing following me? Li Qingyue asked, looking at Tom and Jerry who were scurrying around behind him. All right, stop following me. There are many magical creatures in this Forbidden Forest. See if you can befriend them and then lure them into our office space. Tom and Jerry nodded repeatedly, then rushed into the Forbidden Forest. They quickly ran deep into the Forbidden Forest, when suddenly Jerry stopped Tom and pointed to the strange tree. The two children looked at the strange tree in front of them and curiously approached it. Suddenly, a green light flashed by, and the two children narrowly dodged it. But they were not afraid at all. On the contrary, they seemed very interested. Tom walked to the tree and gently tapped the trunk. After a while, a cute little green creature quietly peeked out from the tree hole. Tom reached out his hand to it, as if he wanted to shake hands with it, but the little guy was very shy and just observed Tom and Jerry from inside the tree hole. If Li Qingyue or other students saw the creature in front of them, they would immediately know its identity. The bowtruckle. The bowtruckle is a rare, palm-sized, insect-eating creature that is difficult to spot and is classified as a danger level XX. As for where the danger lies, it lies in its hands. Both of its hands have sharp, slender fingers. It usually lives on trees, and if anyone dares to harm the trees they live in, it will pounce on the lumberjack and use its slender and sharp fingers to gouge out the lumberjack's eyes. However, this behavior only occurs when their home is in danger. Normally, bowtruckles are peaceful and extremely shy. If you want to befriend them, it's best to use a ground beetle to build a relationship. If the relationship is good, the bowtruckle will choose a piece of wood from its own tree that can be used to make a wand and give it to them. Tom carefully examined the bowtruckles in front of him. Suddenly, more bowtruckles appeared on the tree, looking down at Tom and Jerry. The two little ones excitedly greeted them, and the bowtruckles also greeted Tom and Jerry. Then the bowtruckles jumped down from the tree, startling Tom, who quickly caught it. But as more and more bowtruckles jumped onto Tom, and since they were only standing on Tom's head, Tom became top-heavy. Tom staggered back and forth, and Jerry stood beside him, raising his hand as if to catch Tom's about to fall. However, their comical aura caused Jerry to completely miss the falling Tom. The bowtruckles, seeing that they had caused Tom to fall, looked embarrassed and reached out to help him up. Tom waved his hand and stood up, then began to show off his Nimbus 2000. The bowtruckles curiously stroked Nimbus 2000, and then, after chatting about something, Tom and Jerry sat on the brooms, waving at the bowtruckles. The bowtruckles exchanged glances and then ran onto the brooms. As Tom took off, the bowtruckles clung tightly to his fur in fear, and even Jerry had about 2 or 3 bowtruckles clinging to him. Li Qingyue stood below, watching their backs as he couldn't help but smile. Who are you? Suddenly, a shout came from behind Li Qingyue. Li Qingyue turned around and saw that the speaker was a centaur. And who are you? Li Qingyue retorted. I am Pharynx. It's you. I'm a guest of Hogwarts. Dumbledore has granted us permission to tour the Forbidden Forest. The Forbidden Forest is extremely dangerous. Even Dumbledore couldn't escape attacks from some of the magical creatures within, Ferenz said. I know, but I am very strong, so don't worry, Li Qingyue said politely. Seeing this, Ferenz had no choice but to retreat. After all, the centaurs were not the owners of the Forbidden Forest. It belonged to Hogwarts. They were at most tenants, so they had no right to prevent Li Qingyue from visiting the Forbidden Forest. After the centaurs left, Tom landed in front of Li Qingyue with a large group of Bowtruckles. Tom, is this the friend you just made? Li Qingyue asked, looking at the group of hunchbacks guarding the trees. Tom nodded emphatically. Li Qingyue reached out to touch the Bowtruckles, but they cowered in Tom's fur in fear. Seeing this, Li Qingyue casually chopped down a large tree, dug several holes in it, and said to Tom, Go find Hagrid, the cabin on the edge of the Forbidden Forest. Ask him to take good care of these Bowtruckles. Understand? Tom nodded repeatedly, then hoisted the tree onto his shoulder. The hunchbacks all ran up the trunk and found a hole to live in. Tom, now that you've settled them in, go back to making friends. Tom waved his hand without turning his head, and just as Li Qingyue was about to continue, Headmaster Dumbledore appeared. That's going too far. Hey, Lao Deng, what are you saying? It's just some animals. Your Forbidden Forest is so big. Losing a few won't make a difference, right? But the problem is, you don't seem to want to take anything with you. Hey, don't worry, it definitely won't affect the Forbidden Forest's ecosystem. By the way, could you get me a Newt Scamander-style briefcase? Newt's trunk is custom-made, but it's possible if the money is right. How many galleons are needed? I'll let Fox know this number later, and then I'll let you know. After saying that, Headmaster Dumbledore disappeared again. Li Qingyue clicked his tongue and decided to learn how to teleport before exploring the Forbidden Forest, since it was really useful for traveling.